So I've been messing around with the fit of the wings and the front valance. I've stripped out the radiator and intercooler just to make things easier to move around. Driver's side or offside is now sorted. I'm happy with that. Everything except where it should be. But I've got a problem on the near side, which is also the one with some fairly significant damage, which I've straightened out. Long story short, there's a gap between the valance and the wing, and if I pull that gap in tight with the fixings, it throws the alignment out down the side of the chassis. So I'll take you in a bit closer and we'll have a look. So basically, the problem's here. At the moment, the valance isn't pinned in. Yes, it is, it's pinned in. So if I pull that across, it gets hellish tight, and then it causes a ripple down that side. The only thing I can think of doing now is basically undoing all the fixings, getting it lined up all loose, and then remarking on new fixing holes on the inside. Because if I try and use the fixings holes on here and here and on the chassis, the whole thing is distorted and out of shape. And all I know is that this has had a new bottom piece, which I've found a couple of errors with, only minor. It's had a new front end on the chassis, which whilst it was put on to what was there had also had two new dumb irons on, so there's no guarantee they were in the right spot. And I think it's just a combination of errors. So I am basically going to be buggering about with that today. Well, that's about as good as I can get it. I've got a bit of a distortion here on the wing. Feel it there. Not a lot I can do about that. Coming round, so it pulls up tight to there. This bit is about, well, centimetre out. It wants to be this way a little bit, but I can't do that. I think it's that outer panel's been bent and stretched too much, and I'd have preferred it if this was centimetre higher here. So that's dropped a bit, and if I pick it up at the back, it makes the distortion over there any worse. So that's kind of like, that's as good as it will get, I think. Next job is I'll show you on the inside of the wing. All of the fixing holes have been stretched, so what I'm now going to do is cut some inch and a half diameter washers in aluminium, take the bolt out, put some seam sealer around the base of the washer, stick the bolt back through and into position, and then leave it clamped for a few hours to glue. It won't be a nice sacrificial piece in fairness, but if I had plastic I'd use that. Didn't repair the top ones because they were crusty, but thought they were good enough. But you can see, I mean, that's your centimetre of movement. My gut feel is that the hole centres along the bottom of there were different to original. Also, I've been thinking about the clearance around that steering arm. I remember when I got the repair patch for the bottom of the valance, the recesses, which are these bits on the original, that corner was up here, and it was almost straight across from there, and that's where the clearance is lacking in these. So, you know, you live and learn. I seem to remember a long while ago hearing the quote, what's one of the 7 wonders of the world that you can see from outer space, after various suggestions about the pyramids and the Great Wall of China. The comic said, no, Landrover panel gaps. Just look at this. It's not riveted on yet, but that's about an inch. And that's about an inch. So I'm counting that, that's even. Might need some thick seals. Anyway, I don't know what I've only done that just to give myself an idea of where I'm at. Yeah. Right, lunchtime. That seemed to take forever. Pretty much done. I've just got to do the underside of the lip now, sand it off, and then it's all in for a good clean, and then get some etch primer on it. Look how many holes there are on it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I bet there's 50. They've all got to be hand riveted in. I think we'll call that done. It's got a little bit of a ripple down here, but I'm going to give it 2 or 3 coats of primer filler anyway. Build a bit of protection up for stone chips. Right. Just riveted on the bonnet frame, so I gave everything a primer, etch primer coat first, and the frames had, I think, about 4 different coats of zinc based primer. Then the contact faces, so what's currently lying down, but the faces against the aluminium, I gave them a heavy brush coat of gloss months ago, just trying to stop the corrosion between the 2 different materials. And that's blended it all in with etch primer again and covered up the rivet heads. Got to wait for that to go off and then flip it over and do the top side. Just noticed I've missed the edge of that one. It's not a big deal, but paint don't stick to aluminium. I think we're on coat 5 of the primer filler, taking out some of the final dents. I never got out with a slapper. It's near enough there now. I'm not trying to get it pristine because I'll only end up frustrated when the first pebble hits it. Yeah, And then that lot. These are all the components for the framework for the intercooler and radiator. Yeah. So that's the primer on. I've actually used the tin of, what is it called, Raptor. Yeah, use that. Found it thins a little bit with a standard epoxy thinner, but it's a bit vague as to how much. 10% is not enough, 20% way too much. So it's I'm thinking it's somewhere about 12 to 15%. Anyway, it dries a hell of a lot slower, but the or hardens, I should say. I'm not using the ultra fast hardener, which I'm just using the one that comes with it, because I didn't want to end up with any compatibility issues, although it's all made by the same firm. But I've sprayed it, it can sit there for the day now. And I've got a tin of U-Pol 2K black coming to top coat them all. Yeah, bit of progress, but it's raining out, so there's not much else I can do. So that's the etch coat primer on, inside and out. I'm only going to do the etch primer on the inside, and then I'll go over it with a light coat of gloss. Not for any other reason than give a bit of a protection against where the bolts go through. Yeah, it's full of blemishes and dinks, but the curves are about right. I mean, there's a few areas which aren't great. Like there's a bit of a dink on there. It shows up, but compared with how they started off, heaps better. Probably have about 3 or 4 coats of primer filler, and then 3 coats of top coat. So that's a week's worth of painting. Joy. So that's the first coat of filler. Not bad. There's this wants another 2 or 3 coats, and then rub back between each one, smooth it out a bit. And it's highlighted 2 dings there which I've missed. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not looking at perfection. I think we've established that. Sides look alright, given how many, I mean, this one got caved in there. So I think that looks alright. So yeah, another couple of coats of that, so 2 days of this, and then should be all hardened off and rubbed down, and then top coat. And the bonnet's hanging up behind there, that's ready for its top coat, I think. Hey ho. That's the first coat of enamel on. I'll probably put 3 on. Well, I will put a minimum of 3 on just to give it a bit of chip protection. Not the best of coats, but it's got a base colour down. Hey. Well, I didn't really video it because I was trying to get ahead of myself. So Naton and I have just fitted the intercooler bracketry, intercooler and radiator and all that's brackets. Now it's all painted up. And it's not been without its issues. We've had everything back to front and all sorts. The guy who made it made everything interchangeable, which has not helped. Anyway, it's on now, so I can now weigh up pipe work for the intercooler to the turbo, radiator to the cooling, and get on with something. But it's gone together all right. Actually, looks almost half decent. It's reasonably rigid as well. So yeah. So that's had its second coat with quite a heavy rub down between. I don't know whether you can still see that stealth texture. Stops the air reflecting the radars. Anyway, it's I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I think it needs a slightly thinner paint, or I don't know, because I give it a good rub down. It was nice and smooth after the primer filler, but if you look at it, you can see. We'll see. Anyway, it's got another couple of coats perhaps yet. Cup of tea time. Well, I was hoping that was going to be the last coat. That's the third coat. I added another 3% solvent, and I thought, oh, this is going on lovely. This is spray, 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 and this is an hour later. Dribbly bit along the front edge. Yeah, sod it. And a bit off of that back corner. So looks like we're going to do a bit of rubbing down and then give it another coat. Oh fun.